a witness. When you pick up a hitchhiker, it's really not a good way to start a witness. You pick the guy up hitchhiking and say, if you died right now, do you know for a fact you go to heaven? because I'm telling you, they think, I either got picked up by a serial killer or a religious fanatic. And I looked over at this kid and I said, well, if you died right now, do you know for a fact you go to heaven? It's honest, his hand went to the door handle. And my foot went to the floor. And in the worst way, I never thought about it. I like a good joke. I should have turned to him and went, you'll be number 12. But to ease his conscience, I looked over at him and I said, yep. I said, you just got picked up by a genuine, licensed, certified religious fanatic. And I really think he would have preferred the serial killer. And he goes, well, you just picked up a genuine, licensed, certified atheist. Oh, I was impressed. And I began to witness to him, and I talked to him, and I said, well, you need to get saved, because if you don't get saved, you're going to go to hell. He goes, I don't believe in hell. I said, oh, that's nothing. I said, I think the world's flat. He said, what? I said, I believe the world's flat. He said, the world's not flat, it's round. I said, no. I said, the world is flat. He said, the world is not flat, it is round. I said, no, pal, it is flat. He said, they have gone out in space and turned back and taken pictures of it, and the pictures show that it's round. I said, it's flat. He said, you believing that it's flat doesn't make it flat. And I went, that's right, and you not believing in hell doesn't mean it's not there. Oh, what do you think? Yeah, I love these guys who go, I don't believe in God. I can just see God, a tear going down his cheek. They don't believe in me. Hey, will they someday? Brother, I don't think God's up there going, oh, he doesn't believe me. He's gone, no. Somebody said, hey, God, he said he doesn't believe in you. I said, that's okay. I'm checking his pulse right now. He's got 1,743 more seconds left to breathe. Then he'll believe in me. When I got saved from hell. I got to tell you this. You hear the stories, maybe some of you, and there's no downside to this testimony, but a lot of guys go, well, I was running from the hounds of hell. I was scared. I knew I was going to hell. I was trembling. I was shaking. I was not. The day I got saved, I wasn't running from anything. I knew I was going to hell, but I got to tell you something. You know what I discovered in Jesus Christ? I discovered somebody that loved me in spite of myself. That thing says over in Romans chapter 5, but God commended his love toward us in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Much more than being now justified by his blood, we should be saved from wrath through him. That while we were yet sinners, boy, that just knocked my socks off. You see, I know me. You know there's only two kinds of sin? There's only two kinds of sin in the world. No, not mortal and venial. You know what they are? They're the sins you brag about, and there's the sins you don't want anybody to hear about. The sins you brag about and the ones you're ashamed of. And I used to sit around a bar, around a table in a bar, and us guys, we would be bragging about our sins. And all the time I was talking about my sin and boasting about my sin, I knew stuff about myself I didn't want anybody at that table to find out about. That's how you are today, isn't that right? You just might even have one you'll brag about. But all the time you're bragging, you know something about yourself. Listen, here's what it comes down to. It comes down to this. If the person sitting next to you right now knew about you what you know about yourself, they'd move over. And it's not because they're better than you. They would just feel better about it. Jesus Christ knew that and loved. He knew that about me and loved me in spite of that. That just amazed me. No one witnessed to me when I was lost. I was that guy that you wouldn't witness to, or you would have thoughts of death and dying, okay? I just wasn't going to be witnessed to. I mean, there was no Bible in our home. I'd never held a gospel tract in my life. Nobody ever took me to a church just until prior to my salvation. I never heard the gospel. And here's what I did. I didn't know this is what I was doing, but I came to this conclusion randomly, I guess. I decided if nobody's going to witness to me, I will just witness to myself. Now, that's not how I planned it, how I thought it, but here's what happened. One night, I'm sitting in the bar. I was in there 7 nights a week. I'm sitting at the bar, and all of the guys are gone. They're either to party or to fight somewhere. And so I'm sitting here by myself, and since nobody would witness to me, I decided to witness to myself, and I said this, okay, Sam, one of these days you're going to die. Where are you going to go when you die? I was a Roman Catholic. Roman Catholic Church teaches 3 places. Heaven, hell, Congress. No, it teaches purgatory. And I said, okay, one of these days you're going to die. Where are you going to go? And I thought, well, what do you got to do to get to heaven? And I thought, well, you got to live by the 10 Commandments. I don't think I know those. Okay, you got to keep the golden rule. It took me 5 seconds to realize I was going to hell. Because I knew that nobody on earth can keep the 10 Commandments and nobody on earth can keep the golden rule. And even though my religion taught me that there was an interim place called purgatory, that I could go there, burn off a few sins, and then float up to heaven, I believed in purgatory. I just didn't believe I was going there. I knew I was going to hell. And from that day, that moment, that made a change in my life. Look, I knew I was going to hell. I knew after that, I had no doubt whatsoever that I was eternally damned at that moment. But I made 2 changes in my life when I discovered, when that truth came to me, that I was going to hell. The first one was this. Beautiful day, correct? Boy, I'm telling you, these days have just been beautiful. I just walk out there, and I like this flat land. It's something to see, just you see out there. I think I can see the Pacific. And you walk out there, and I like blue sky, green grass, birds singing. I like that. When I realized, after I established that I was going to go to hell when I died, when I saw a day like today, when the sky was blue and the grass was green and the birds were singing, I tried to commit those days to my memory. I tried to commit them to my memory because I knew that when I died and I went to hell, the only thing I'm going to take with me to hell is my memory. And I know I'm going to spend eternity in flames, suffering and screaming, and I was hoping that when I got to hell, I would be able to remember what a blue sky day was like, when the sky was blue and the grass was green, the birds were singing, because I thought if there's going to be any relief in hell whatsoever, that'll be the only relief I'm going to get in hell. The second change I made to my life was I quit taking God's name in vain. You guys might not know this, but I've always been talking about God. I brought him into every conversation before I got saved and tried to bring him in every one afterwards. Now, it was for 2 different reasons, okay? It was never a statement of faith prior to this. And I quit taking God's name in vain after I got saved. He punctuated my sentences. He was the exclamation point in my threats. He was a good joke. Jesus Christ was something that everybody knew I was mad if I brought him up. And I quit taking the name of God in vain for this reason. I didn't do it to get to heaven because I already knew I was damned. I knew there was no hope for my soul. I did this, and here's what I told God. I said, God, you made a way for me to get to heaven. Didn't he? 10 Commandments. God made the 10 Commandments for me to get to heaven, and I broke them, and I'm going to hell. Then it's not his fault that I'm going to hell, right? So he was being rather kind to make a way for me to get to heaven, wasn't he? I appreciated it. And in appreciation of having at least made a way for me to get to heaven, I quit taking his name in vain. I wasn't trying to get to heaven. I wasn't trying to change anything in our relationship because I figured this. If I could quit sinning from this day forward, I had enough behind me to put me in hell. And so that changed everything. And then somebody asked me to go to a Baptist church. Now, I told you I was Roman Catholic, and as a Roman Catholic, I knew that there's only 2 kinds of churches, Roman Catholic and Holy Rollers. And so I went to this Catholic church, or this Baptist church, and the first time I went, I wore old clothes, kind of like you guys come usually. And I wore old clothes, and I said the pews, it was a big sanctuary, and the pew might have started up there and go about half again. It was real wide, and there were about 3 sections like that. I sat dead center of the pew. I sat 3 in from the back. Somebody saw me. My parents said, why are you wearing such old clothes to church? And I said, I figure if they're going to tear them off of you, you ought not to wear anything good. I thought I was going to get this holy, and somebody's going to grab my shirt and it was going to be gone. And why wear a good one? And I sat in the middle of the pew so that nobody could reach me from the aisle. I sat 3 in from the back so nobody could reach over and grab me. I did. I really did. And I kept an eye on the ushers. And they had one usher. Don't you think Brother Wall had a good name? That guy is a wall. They had an usher about his size. Big, athletic. I just saw him not too long ago. I just saw the guy. But, and I looked back at that guy and I thought, oh, this bothers me. I don't think I can whip him. And I thought, I had a plan. My plan was that if this guy started coming down the row to cut me off, and I looked this way and another guy's coming down the row, I was going to grab whoever was